This week on Cars and Things Rest Days, we've got some parts for the HQ. We'll start putting it back together and put the front on it. Welcome to Summit X35. Back to Cars and Things Rest Days. Rightio, I think the last video we left off, we had the tank had arrived. We're still waiting for a fuel gauge sender to turn up before I can put that in, but that's fine. We have our new water pump. I have a new alternator for it here. I'll get that out later. Last night I put in some AN fittings. If we can get up in there and see, put in some AN fittings into the gearbox. Hang on, I'll get a line. So got some AN fittings and AN line up there running to the cooler lines, and we can see them in there. So a couple of 90-degree fittings going into the box. And with some AN6 hose running to the front. That'll be our cooler line, that'll do the job there. So from here I need to take that up and paint that, and get brother to come in here and we put the front end on. Then as soon as the fuel gauge gets here, we'll put the tank in it. We're back here working on the EQ today. Piss and rain outside. So I've just been mucking with the LS harness here from the rod shop. It comes with these terminals for the injectors, which is just a standard terminal, and we've had to change them to these terminals for the LS2 injectors, or the Bosch injectors we've put in it. So I've just gone along and cut them all off. And just got the little crimping wires, and I've gone through and crimped them all on, making sure that I've used my ohm meter to get my positive wire, which is quite simple. All you need to do is put it on ohms. See if I can do this for you. So you just put it on ohms, and the red wire is our positive continuity wire that goes through to each one, which is applying power to all the injectors, and the other wire is your trigger wire. What I will do is I will probe each trigger wire back to the end of the harness into make sure we've got continuity right through them, because there's nothing worse. Then we do it all and we put it all in the car, and we've got a miss on a cylinder and we've got to work out which one it is. I have already, when I crimped them, I checked continuity from there to the terminals that I crimped on. So I know that that's good. It's just from here back, but it should be right. I think Jakey would have made this from the rod shop. All good. That's pretty straightforward. Just putting a bit of tester tape on it, on the terminals, but I'll probably coat the whole lot in tester tape so it looks pretty neat. Alright, I'll keep that right out. Don't think I'm doing any work out here today. Geez, there's some fucking thunder cracking. Alright, she's coming down. The fucking gutters are overflowing. Alrighty, what have I been doing? I've got all the wiring harness in. It's all bolted up. I not really like this here. it's come undone. I'll have to do that up. It's very tight, those there. I'll show you up the top. Fuel tank is in. Yeah, it was a bit tricky. It is a nice looking tank, but it is very, very tricky to get in. This here is a pain in the butt, but when you want something that looks this good, you've got to put up with a bit of crap, unfortunately. Just had the doctor the old tank frame just there. Had to just cut that off, so these brackets fit up, no worries at all on both sides. Not sure whether you can see, but you can still get to the fittings and everything. I've got there's me wires already pre-wired, the fuel cylinder and the fuel pump, so that's done. So that's in now. I just need to work out where I'm going to put the fuel filter, and we're using the Corvette fuel filter with a 58 reg in it, so we can deadhead it in. That way I only have to run one fuel line to the front. So just got to work out where I'm going to stick this up here somewhere. Geez, I don't know whether I could mount it on the... It's got to not hit the diff. I've got to get it away from the diff. Yeah, that might work on there. We'll see how I go. Anyway. Tank is in. Got all the AN lines all hooked up, just waiting on one fitting for the return, which is nothing major. I think it turned up in the post today actually, so it's probably ain't. Got our breather, running the breather through the old original breather. So there's the filter up there. Got our AN8 running all the way through to the front, running up here and up to there. Looking good. Tank's in. Got the fuel filter in, just waiting on one fitting to finish that off. So that was a bit of a prick. I had to cut the exhaust off it. Not going to be happy about that. Won't fit with this tank, so it's going to have to be redone. Never mind. And I'll show you the engine harness. Alrighty, so there we just got to hook on. Just got to put a fitting on to the fuel line there. And harness is in. We just got to tidy it up a little bit. Put a bolt there. Put that cover on. It's not far away, mate. Getting there. Looking the goods. Fuel system is all hooked up. We've got fuel pressure. So everything's working. It's holding pressure as well, which is good. So all the tank side and the fuel side's done. Now we just got to get the ignition side done. Okay, so you see I had the fuel system hooked up. Now we're just hooking up the wiring, the ignition system, or to powering up the ECU. So I pulled the steering column down so I can get to the ignition switch, because we've got to join there's two wires here. There's a blue wire, a pink wire which is 12 volts, and a yellow wire which drops to 8 volts. They have to be joined. I can see if you can see it in there. They have to be joined together so we can supply full 12 volts to the ECU. That is a setup for the old point system in the HQ. So when you start the vehicle up, it gives the points 12 volts to start, and then it drops down to 8 volts when they're running, so you don't burn your points out, and we need full 12 volts. So you join those together and run a power wire over to the ECU. We've also got to run a tacho wire, a alternator wire, what else, a brake switch wire, and I think that's it. Oh, I've got to bring power from the battery to the fuse box here to run the rest of the system. Alright, that's my next job on the list. I'll get stuck into that. Not sure where we got up to yesterday, but I've got all the wiring in. It's all, I've got it temporarily attached there, which may be where it'll go if I can get it all. Only thing I've got to do is run the fan wires out to the fan when I put the front on it. So we've got our power wire. I've got to get a rubber grommet for there. just debating whether we're going to stick this up under here somewhere, which may be the go. Might have to make a plate up. Oh look, getting there. I've got our harness here running across, and it's all attached to the dash, so all that's good. What else have we done? We've got all of the harnesses sorted in the boot. As I said, this harness is a bit of overkill, but it's certainly going to do the job. Don't have to worry about that. So just got to get some lugs, battery lugs, and some terminals to go on there. But other than that, I did and got some oils for it last night for the engine. So it's all our earths are all hooked up, so it's ready to fire. I've also got this here. This is for the steam ports. What I'm thinking about doing is putting a fitting in just here, drilling a hole in there, and putting a fitting in, just running the steam port straight to there. Yeah, it's nothing major. A lot of them run them to the top of the radiator. I could probably put it in to the top radiator hose into there, actually. Run it straight out into there. That's an idea. Something I've got to think about. All good. See how we go. Hey guys. Okay, so I'm to put some oil in it. So I've filled it up with oil. I've got all the transmission fluid in it. Just filled up the sump with oil. Now what we've got to remember, just put a new oil filter on it. These sumps, this conversion, you've got to take the sump off, and you put another sump and a pickup on it, so all the oil would have been drained out of it. It's maybe been sitting for quite a while, so I don't know how primed the oil galleries are going to be. So what I do normally is what I do if it was a brand new engine. I'll take the oil pressure switch out, and then I get my oil can, and I will back force oil down through where the oil pressure is. I'll squirt probably a can of oil in through all there to lubricate everything, get oil down through the galleries into the back into the oil pump, and then when we fire it up, it should pick up oil pressure straight away. That's just something that I like to do, especially on a build I didn't put together. I don't know 100% what the go is, but I want to make sure it's got oil pressure. So that's just a little tip for you guys. It does not hurt to pour oil into that oil pressure gallery and fill all the galleries before you start. Righty, moment of truth. A bit nervous. Only because a lot of the wiring was already in it before I done it. I sort of just come in halfway between. Let's see if we can let any smoke out of the wires. I'd really be upset if it happens. But first of all, what we'll do is we'll just touch and see if there's any sparkies. No, okay. No hot wires there. It's looking all right. Looking all right under here. Okay, let's turn the key and have a listen. Should hear fuel pump. Yep, got fuel pump. No alternator light. Okay, no alternator light. Hopefully I've got the wires hooked up correctly. I might have to check to see if the globes work. So we had fuel pressure. I'm still nervous. I might tick it over. Let's just see if it'll try and start. Nothing. Alright. That might be an inhibitor switch. I might need to look at that. Alrighty. A little bit to sort out, but we got power. And there's no smoke coming out of the wires. Woohoo! Tail shaft is in. I don't know, we're having a bit of bad luck with tail shafts still in the last few. We had the same issue with this drive shaft being made, and it had a 1330 universal joint in it, and the yoke on the diff's a 1310, so it wouldn't fit. It was too wide. But luckily Camo's helped us out again from MAE. He had one in stock, a 1330 by 1310, laughing. So we just had to swap the universal joint out and bolt her on in. We just unfortunately we just don't seem to be getting these tail shafts right. I suppose that's what happens when other people are building them and they haven't got all the right information. But anyway, it is what it is. That's what happens with these builds when 10 different people work on them. But as I said, it is what it is. We'll keep knocking it out and getting very close. I'm not sure if I've showed that, but I've got all my fuel system all buttoned up or under there. All the gauges all hooked up. So we'll see how it goes. Rightio, back to it. Okay, so wouldn't turn over. Found the micro switch on here wasn't adjusted right, and I just put the ohms meter on it, adjusted it all up, and got that bit right. So that's working. Right now, let's try it again. Fuel pump. Let's see if it'll turn over. Whoa, we got something. Now we just need some juice in it. See what's going on. I don't know, it didn't fire up. I'm not sure if we got spark or haven't got spark or what, but one bonus, it's turning over. I should just squirt a bit of carby clean down there and see if it'll fire. See how I go. So, still playing around with it. Cranks, but it won't fire. I've got no spark. So what I did find was the 25 amp fuse here had no power to it. The terminal had backed out and it wasn't touching. And that fuse is the EFI fuse. So that might be why we're having a bit of drama. Righto, let's hook up the battery and see what it does this time. Moment of truth. It's either going to pop, bang, or do something. I am hoping. A bit of throttle. Nothing. Nothing. You know what? Where were we? Okay. So, I think the last video was of I got it to crank. It cranked over, but it had no start. So I checked for spark. Yes, I checked for spark, and there was no spark and no injector pulse. So I did a bit of tracing with the wiring, checked the power down at the relays, which I think there was no, one of the fuse, the EFI fuse connector in the relay or the fuse box had backed out. Fixed that, had power there, then had power down here at the injectors. Better make sure I plugged all those back on. Had power at the injectors and power at the coils. Yes, they're all back on, and everything there was fine. Still no go. So I wasn't 100% sure. I was double checking everything. So I just I wasn't sure whether the ECU had the VATs done in it. So I messaged Jakey at the rod shop. He gave me a call and he said yes, usually if it's got a sticker on it, he's done it all, which he wasn't 100% sure, but he said, but if it's mine and it's got a sticker on it and it's come from us, the VATs will be done in it. He said, what's happening? I said, it's got no spark or injector pulse. And he said, it won't be the VATs. He said, check to see if we have power to the coming from the ignition switch, which I did have. And then he said, crank it and see if it drops power. I cranked it, it dropped power. Alright, so there was the problem. Now, on these ignition switches, here's an ignition switch here. Which I know this, and I had done it. That's wire there is that's power to your ignition, that one and that one. This one here is power out, well they're power in, that's power out. So when you turn the key ignition to on, you get power coming out of there. Now, when you start it, power disconnects from there and comes out of that one there. I had got that wire and I did crimp it to this wire, but from what I could see, the crimp was a bit shitty and I had no power, didn't have very good connection. So I re-crimped it, I've soldered it. Yes, you shouldn't solder shit, fucking people hate solder and stuff. You know what? The crimp didn't work properly, so I soldered it, and now when I turn the key, it's got power. When I turn the key to on, I have power there, and I give it a good quick crank, and obviously it had power there because it didn't drop power, and it fired up. And I didn't expect it to fire it up, but it did. So let's show you again. Here we go. Watch this. I could shit myself. I felt like, I don't know if it was in park. I have got a vacuum leak under there, I can hear. Alright, so there you go. I could hear a vacuum leak. Not sure what that was. I'll have to research that vacuum leak. Alrighty. There we go. It runs. Absolutely stoked. Absolutely stoked. Alright, I'll do a bit more research here and see what's going on. As you saw, we got the old girl running. Went and seen my mate Paul Ferguson last night and got a full rubber kit for it. Thanks Paulie, really appreciate it. Anybody needs any H series rubber kits or clips or anything, he's got them all there in stock. Give me a yell. I'll put a picture up of his site, but it's got me out of trouble. He has them here in town in Mildura, so if you are local, hit up Ferg and he can sort you out with the rubber kit. There you go. One window in, one door done, got all that on, and then I realised, we need a door lock. We haven't got the door lock for it. I'll have to pull it back off. Anyway, that's one done. 3 to go. Slowly getting there. Yeah, we're back here this morning working on the queue. Brother just give me a hand, we just slipped the front end on it. I've just bolted it all up. I got our belt on it. I'm just waiting on the tensioner, the right tensioner for it. That'll be here today, but I just had to measure it up. I got an old belt and wrapped around it and cut it to length. And the thing, the belt to come to was a 6PK9, a 1930, and as you can see, we've got plenty of adjustment in it. So it could have went a little bit longer if we wanted to, but it'll be fine. I've put a little adapter here from the steam port to the top of the water pump there. Just give the radiator a bit of lick of gloss to make it look neat. Let's stick that in. Oh, and what else have I done? I fitted up the ECU. Dave wanted it. He said, "Oh, just put it up in the glove box. We'll hide it up in there." So we've done that. We've got our diagnostic connector to the side there. Got our fuse box down on the side. I'll just have to make this trim that goes here. May just have to cut it out around here just so it slides back, but I want to tuck all that wire back. I've got to get a grommet for firewall, and I'll tuck all that wire back up under there. All coming, slowly going together. Let's get the radiator. So we got all our hoses on. I've got a bottom hose. It's sort of right. It's got a spring in it, so it should hold its shape. Top hose worked out pretty good. I just had to cut a little bit off it, make it work. Just filled her up with coolant. Hooked up the transcooler lines. So let's kick it in the guts, see if it'll run and warm her up. Fingers across to make sure she's in park. Yep. Righto. Should run, hopefully. Fuel pressure. There we go. What's that? That might be handbrake, is it? I'm hoping. Yeah, that's the handbrake light. That's okay. What we got? No batteries. The temperature gauge should work because I've hooked that up. Oh, we got RPM. Look at that. Got something right. Fucking pretty happy. That's sitting there under there idling, pretty sweet. I'm pretty happy with that. So I'll let it warm up and go through. We'll see if our steam port works, and we'll go from there. Oh, I've got to get a new fucking hose for that, because that's a bit shitty, but I forgot to do that. Anyway, all good. Alrighty guys, so I have just noticed that our fuel pressure is up around 80 psi, and we're running that fuel filter, the Corvette fuel filter. Looks like it's not going to work. It's a bit like what happened with the Stato. Obviously the fuel pump in it's way too big and it's overpowering it. So I'm going to have to, looks like I'm going to have to run a return line, and probably a regulator up the front here. Unfortunately, never mind, it is what it is. It seems to run and rev okay though. But that's probably a little bit much fuel pressure, I'd say. Never mind. Yeah, I just gave her a big vacuum out, just checking out the floors. It's got a little bit of surface rust on it, but it's nothing major. They're pretty good, they're pretty solid actually. So I'm just getting a bit of wax and grease, just going over, give them a clean up. And then we're going to get the old tough dog out. Underdog, sorry. The old underdog sound editing. We're going to whack that on the floor. Alright, I'll get stuck into it. Underdog's in. Went in pretty nice. Looking pretty sweet. Just need some carpet now. Righty. Friggin' hot one today. 44 degrees. Woo! Oh, you got that aircon blowing on me. Righto, so exhaust is done and modified. I had to modify, I had to crush it all here to get it past the tank, so it didn't hit on the tank. Same on this side and around where the shocker goes. Look, I had to do that to make it fit. I've had to shorten it up, put some new tips on the end of it for him, so we've got some nice little dumps on it. Look much better than these fucking things. Look at this. I don't know why anyone thinks that they look good. That is the worst tip that you could actually put on a car, guys. That is disgusting. Don't do it. That belongs on a truck like that, not on a friggin' nice car. Don't do it. Absolute shit. If you want to do it by a mandrel band, cut. That's a 45 that I cut in half. Where is it? Here's one here. It wasn't exactly like this, but it was similar to that. Cut it in half, and you get your nice contour as the dump comes out. Makes it look a lot neater. Alrighty, so he can do whatever else he wants to do. Probably wouldn't surprise me if I'm cutting these tips off it and putting them right here under the diff, because he liked the sound of it straight out of the diff. It does make it very, very tight, even up there where the fuel filter and that is. I might have to put some heat shielding on the fuel pipe up there, but it is what it is. Alrighty, that bit's done. Getting there. Well, that'll probably do it for this episode. There's a fair bit in it. HQ's coming along, it's all running. We're just doing the tedious little bullshit things at the moment. Get them all knuckled out, and then now I'm onto the interior. I've got to get the interior in it. We've got the roof lining over there. I need to wait till brother gets back, give me a hand with that. I got lots of parts coming, but it's getting close to Christmas, so it's getting hard to get parts delivered on time. I've been waiting for one for 2 weeks, but it is what it is. Alrighty, well, thanks for coming along and watching. If you want to chuck up a comment and tell us what you think. If you haven't subscribed, please jump on and subscribe, hit the bell, share it with your friends, and we'll see you next time. Cheers.